Oh, hold on.
Testing.
Oh.
There we go. Jeff,
Ooh.
go ahead. You can go ahead now, Jeff.
Okay, so this starts with Z, but also towards Laura. First of all, Z, start of the season, how's it feel? You've gotten in some matches, had some, success early in the season. How are you feeling about the start of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I feel good. I am, just trying to build off of each time I get to go on the field and learn and watch clips and be better. So yeah, I'm happy with what's going on. We just got to keep it rolling.
The second part is with so much compressed schedule time, there's a lot of squad rotation, which creates a lot of opportunity for minutes for lots of players. How does that affect some of the training? When players are playing with very clear roles of start or reserve as opposed to lots of minutes available, how is that affecting the way people are approaching or you're approaching training?
I mean, I think the reality of the situation is everybody has to be ready at all times, and we kind of keep that standard here, especially knowing that we have, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, you have to be prepared because you never know what's going to happen. So I think that's kind of something that Laura instills in us, is to be ready at all times so that when you have your opportunity, you can perform. So I don't think it really has changed much.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
And then Susie, go ahead.
Hi, T-Wolf.
Hi.
Chicago maybe presents something a little bit different than other teams that you face, with not just formation, but also just maybe how they defend a little bit. And I'm wondering, you haven't had much time as a whole team to prepare for Chicago specifically, but what kind of threats do you think they bring?
Yeah, I think obviously they've kept a similar formation to what they did last year, and it's hard to play against. They're difficult to break down, and they have threats going forward that could tend to come a little bit late into the attack. So I just think we have to stay organised and get on the front foot whenever we can defensively, and try to create overloads in different areas of the field where possible.
And I was just going to ask Z, how do you kind of think a little bit differently about your role as a wide player when you're going against a 3-back?
That is a very specific question. I think obviously that allows for more space. And I think the reality is Chicago's wingbacks can recover quickly. So I think exploiting that in a way that, kind of allows us to get an advantage with their 3-back is kind of ideal.
And while I have the mic, one more question for you, Z. We didn't get Jess on after the game, but it sounds like maybe you all prepped a little bit for her celebration. Is there anything you can share with us?
Well, I can share with you that Jess does a very great chicken dance, and stay tuned for what's next.
Thank you.
Oh, goodness.
Thanks, Susie. And then Charles, you can go ahead.
For Coach, I just wanted to see if you had anything to report on injuries with Quinn and Rose, and any potential update on where Angelina is in her recovery.
Angelina is progressing really well. She's ticking the boxes she needs to tick. She's in team training now regularly, which is great. Obviously, coming back from such a big injury, we're just trying to be mindful to be careful with her. Quinn, obviously tough one on Wednesday with an ankle. We've been getting it looked at, getting it assessed, and it'll be one that's over, I think, weeks rather than long term, which is positive. And Rose, we're just working through with Rose. We're trying to be mindful of making sure that she's fully right when she comes back on the field. Being very, not cautious, but just being very conscious to make sure that she feels good when she's back into training a little bit now. So that's a positive step.
And then just one more thing. If you have any insight on how Luani is, getting acclimated with the club. I know there's been some some video that the dances have been fun with different teammates, but how she's been integrating with the team, and when we might see her getting in some game action.
Yeah, obviously she missed the whole of pre-season, so it's a long season. We've got to make sure that physically she's ready to go. So we're just building her up gradually. Obviously, you've seen her personality's already shining through, which is great. You know, having someone young and talented and full of character, and it just lends to being a part of this team, really. So yeah, she's done a good job.
Thanks, Charles.
Thank you.
And then we can have Jeff again.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about your defense and the goalkeeper rotation you did on Wednesday night. You came through with a clean sheet, even with changes in the defensive line and getting the change in the nets. Can you talk about the state of your defense collectively at this time?
I think it's great. It's doing a good job. I think I've said it a lot. I'll continue to say it. Fallon's been excellent. But the two goalkeepers who train with her every day are also very, very good, and we want to give them opportunities, and we see the Challenge Cup as a chance to do that.
And then the last part is we've seen Megan come off the bench 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Is that going to be a pattern we're just going to see for a while?
Yeah, we've got to build her back up. I think, you know, she's at a stage in her career where we have to be very mindful of that. And obviously when she comes off the bench, she's making impact, which is great. We want to just continue to put her on the right track. So yeah, continued minutes again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. And then we have Andrew.
Or you're muted, Andrew.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry about that. Yeah, thanks. I think everyone's been very impressed by your tight forward press that you've played in the games so far this season. But obviously, the danger is that as the opposition sort of sees what you got, and what you play, is there a danger that they kind of figure out a way to respond? Are you kind of able to pivot going forward, or are you going to stick with this plan at the moment?
I mean, we've been doing it for 10 years, so probably not going to change too much, honestly. Like, we've always been a high-pressing team. I think the way that we do it, sort of the approach we take to doing it, just tweaks slightly on the opponent. But the mentality of trying to be that team has always been us. I think the times that it starts to lend to, do we have to be a bit more conservative, is around when it starts to heat up. And we haven't played, touchwood yet, we haven't played on a field or in an environment that's been too hot yet. But yeah, it's something that's been instilled in this club ever since we've sort of started. So the cool thing about that is we can add layers to it, of what it looks like, how it looks, do we tweak it, and we definitely do different things depending on the opponents that we're going to play. But you're right, I think we are playing against teams now that try and counteract what we're doing. But I think everyone knows that that's just who we are. It's what we enjoy it. We enjoy being able to get on the front foot as much as we can. And I think sometimes teams counter that by just going long. They go long. But I think with the addition of Sonnet, in the addition of Sonnet in the midfield and obviously Olo being in there at times, we have an aerial threat now that means that it's really hard to do that against us too. So we definitely have added layers over the years to what it's looked like. But I think the ethos of who we are won't change. Z's laughing because I talk about it every day. So it was probably not something we're going to change overnight.
Thanks, Andrew. Are there any other questions?
Been doing it for 10 years.
All right, looks like that's it for questions. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Laura. Thanks, Z.